Most men don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. Women don't stay loyal to what you do for them. They stay loyal to how you make them feel about you. And the moment a man misunderstands this, he starts doing more, giving more, fixing more, and chasing harder, all while she becomes colder, distant, or indifferent. This video is about breaking that cycle, because too many men confuse effort with impact, and too many men think loyalty is earned through sacrifice. It's not. It's earned through presence, strength, and emotional consistency, the things she actually respects. Before I even welcome you to the channel, I want you to sit with this idea for a second. Women are not loyal to your kindness. They're not loyal to your patience. They're not loyal to how much you spend, how much you provide, or how much you're willing to tolerate. Women are loyal to one thing only: the version of you that stands firm in who you are, the version that doesn't break himself to earn approval, the version that doesn't lose himself trying to keep her, the version that lives by principles, not impulses. That's where Stoicism comes in. Stoicism teaches a mindset that keeps you centered, calm, and grounded in your own strength, the kind of energy women naturally trust and gravitate toward. Not the man who overextends himself, not the man who is desperate to be appreciated, but the man who is steady, controlled, unmoved, not cold, but unshakable. When a woman senses this, her loyalty isn't tied to what you do. It's tied to who you are. Welcome back to the channel. I'm really glad you're here. Today, we're diving deep into something most men never get taught: why doing more for a woman doesn't create loyalty, and why mastering your internal world does. We're going to break down how women respond to strength, how they interpret your emotional reactions, and how you can build the kind of presence that keeps her attracted, connected, and invested. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the real psychology behind her loyalty and why the strongest men rely on discipline and stoic control, not constant giving, to build lasting, she's loyal to strength, not sacrifice connection. 1. She's loyal to strength, not sacrifice. A lot of men grow up believing that if you treat a woman well, give her everything she needs, and constantly prove how loyal you are, she'll naturally return that loyalty back to you. But in reality, women don't connect to men through sacrifice. They connect through strength. And when I say strength, I don't mean physical toughness or being emotionally shut down. I'm talking about inner steadiness, a calm, grounded presence, a man who knows who he is and doesn't fall apart when things get difficult. Women pay attention to how a man carries himself under pressure. They look at how you respond when things don't go your way, when a situation tests your patience, or when she pulls back emotionally. If you panic, chase, or start trying to do more to win her back in those moments, she loses trust in you. Not because you're weak as a human being, but because your reactions tell her you don't have control over yourself. And women can't be loyal to a man who is unstable within. Imagine you're talking to a woman you really care about, and suddenly she becomes distant for a few days. You feel something is off, so you start texting her more often, giving long messages, asking if everything is okay, trying harder to keep her attention. At first, it seems like the right thing to do, but to her, it feels like you're losing your center just because she pulled back slightly. She senses that her emotional shifts can control you. The more she feels that, the less she sees you as a man she can trust, and the more your effort pushes her away. Strength to a woman is about consistency. It's about being the same man even when the energy changes. It's about not letting your self-worth depend on her moods or attention. When you stay calm and grounded, she feels safe. She feels attracted. She feels respect. That's what her loyalty attaches to. Not the things you give her, but the emotional stability she experiences with you. Men often assume women want a man who gives endlessly, but women actually want a man who leads himself first, a man who doesn't crumble when he feels insecure, a man who can hold his ground. Sacrifice doesn't create that feeling. In fact, over-sacrificing usually comes from insecurity, and women can feel that immediately. Being strong doesn't mean being controlling, harsh, or emotionless. It means you stay rooted. You can love a woman deeply, but you don't lose yourself in that love. You can care for her, but you don't abandon your standards. You can show affection, but you don't beg for connection. When a woman sees real strength in a man, calmness, confidence, self-respect, that's when her loyalty naturally forms. Not because you gave her everything, but because you became someone she could genuinely trust. 2. Why women respect. Why women respect emotional control, emotional control. One of the biggest misunderstandings men have about women is thinking that women only care about how much you give or how well you treat them. Those things matter, but they don't create deep respect. What women respect and what actually keeps them loyal is emotional control. And emotional control doesn't mean hiding your feelings or pretending nothing affects you. It means you can feel something strongly without letting it dictate your behavior. Women watch how you respond more than anything you say. If a woman can shake your entire mood with one attitude shift, one delayed text, or one disagreement, she immediately senses instability. When your emotions jump all over the place, she doesn't feel safe with your leadership or your presence. A man who can't regulate himself can't be trusted to handle real life. And that's where respect starts to fade. Emotional control is simply this: you respond, not react. You take a moment before speaking. You don't take everything personally. You don't let a small issue turn into a crisis. You don't allow your insecurities to run wild and push you into begging, pleading, or over-explaining. When a woman sees that you can stay centered even in uncomfortable situations, it signals maturity, confidence, and strength, the qualities that naturally pull her closer. And the interesting part is this: emotional control isn't something you perform for her. It's something you develop for yourself. Women just recognize it immediately. A man who stays calm is a man she can open up to. A man who stays calm is a man she can trust. A man who stays calm is a man she can attach herself to emotionally. But if every disagreement becomes an argument, if every bit of distance makes you panic, if every insecurity makes you overreact, she will quietly start to disconnect even if she still likes you. Men who lack emotional control tend to do too much. They over-apologize, they over-express, they overgive, they force conversations, they chase reassurance. All of this comes from a fear of losing her. And ironically, it's exactly what makes her lose interest. On the other hand, a man with emotional discipline doesn't need to force anything. He gives space when needed without feeling threatened. He communicates with clarity, not desperation. He doesn't try to control outcomes. He focuses on controlling himself. This is why Stoicism is so powerful in relationships. It teaches you to stay grounded, to focus on what you can control, and not attach your entire emotional world to another person. Women respect men who can stand firm within themselves. They don't stay loyal to emotional chaos. They stay loyal to emotional stability. 3. Your value comes from identity, not effort. Your value comes from identity, not effort. Many men fall into a dangerous mindset. They believe their value in a relationship comes from how much they do, how much they give, or how hard they try. They measure their worth by effort instead of identity. And the problem with that mindset is simple. When your worth depends on effort, you will always feel the pressure to keep doing more just to maintain her interest. Women don't become loyal to the man who does the most for them. They become loyal to the man whose identity they admire, trust, and feel drawn to. Your value is rooted in who you are, not in how many tasks you complete or how well you perform in the relationship. When a man doesn't understand this, he becomes a prove-yourself type of man. He constantly tries to impress her. He tries to convince her he's a good choice. He tries to win validation through action because he doesn't believe who he is already enough. Women can feel this immediately. And once a woman senses you're performing instead of being, her respect declines without her saying a word. Who you are, your mindset, your boundaries, your purpose, your direction is what shapes attraction. This is why some men can do very little and still pull strong loyalty from women. They don't try too hard because they don't need to. Their identity carries weight. Their presence speaks louder than their effort. A man with a strong identity doesn't fear losing a woman because he knows he won't lose himself. He doesn't act out of desperation because he lives from a place of inner confidence. He doesn't overextend because he understands his value isn't built on constant giving. And ironically, this is exactly what women attach themselves to a man who can stand alone. When your identity is strong, your effort becomes a bonus, not a requirement. Acts of kindness feel genuine instead of manipulative. Giving feels natural instead of forced. Women interpret this as real strength, not people-pleasing. And here's the truth many men overlook. When a woman is drawn to who you are, she will naturally appreciate what you do. But when she's not drawn to who you are, nothing you do will ever be enough. 4. The hidden cost of overgiving. Most men don't realize there's a silent price they pay when they give too much in a relationship. At first, it seems harmless, even noble. You want to show her you care, you want her to feel comfortable, and you want to prove that you're committed. But there is a hidden cost that slowly builds up. The more you overgive, the more you unintentionally lower your value in her eyes. Women don't lose interest because you're a good man. They lose interest when your giving becomes a substitute for confidence, boundaries, or self-respect. When you constantly extend yourself beyond what feels natural, you communicate something without saying it directly. I need your approval to feel secure. And the moment she feels that, she stops seeing you as the strong, grounded man she can trust. Overgiving also creates an imbalance. You don't notice at first. You start doing more than you receive. You invest more than she invests. You put in more effort than she puts in. Even if she appreciates you, this imbalance will eventually make her feel less attracted. Women naturally want to invest too. When a man does everything, she loses the space to show her interest. She loses the chance to earn your attention. And this turns the relationship from mutual energy exchange into one-sided effort. There's another hidden cost. Overgiving creates expectation. When you constantly shower her with attention, time, reassurance, gifts, or emotional labor, it sets a baseline she gets used to. Now, if you ever pull back, need space, or simply feel tired, she reads it as a change in behavior, not because you're doing something wrong, but because you trained her to expect a certain level of energy from you. And once she's used to it, the responsibility falls on you to sustain it forever. You also pay the price internally. Overgiving drains you. It makes you anxious when you don't receive the same energy back. It makes you second-guess yourself. You begin to wonder why she isn't responding the way you hoped, and that creates even more insecurity. This insecurity then drives you to give even more, turning the whole thing into a cycle that destroys attraction. The truth is simple. Women value what comes from abundance, not desperation. When you give from a stable, strong place, it feels generous. But when you give from fear, it feels heavy. Women can sense the difference immediately. Stoicism teaches men to act with intention, not emotion, to give without losing themselves, to care without collapsing. When your giving comes from self-control, not insecurity, it holds weight. It feels balanced. It feels how Stoic presence shifts her behavior, masculine. 5. How Stoic presence shifts her behavior. When you hear the word Stoicism, you might imagine a man who feels nothing, says nothing, and acts like a stone. But that's not Stoicism at all. Stoicism is the ability to stay calm, centered, and emotionally grounded no matter what's happening around you. And when you bring that energy into a relationship, it completely changes how a woman responds to you. Women feel a man's presence more than his words. Your presence is the emotional atmosphere you bring into every interaction. It's the energy she feels when you walk into a room, when you talk to her, when you sit with her, or when conflict arises. Stoic presence means you don't get thrown off balance by her moods, her silence, or her emotional storms. And when she senses that, her behavior shifts in ways most men never expect. When you're stoic, you're not cold. You're centered. You're not emotionless. You're controlled. You're not detached. You're deliberate. That's the kind of presence that makes a woman feel safe, seen, and drawn to you. Imagine this moment. She comes to you upset about something small. Maybe she's frustrated, emotional, or overwhelmed. Instead of matching her intensity or reacting out of annoyance, you stay calm. You listen. You don't take it personally. You don't try to fix her mood instantly. You simply remain steady. That one moment alone can change the entire dynamic. Your calmness creates a grounding effect. She softens. She trusts your energy. She feels safe enough to relax. Women naturally adjust to the emotional tone of the man they're with. If you're anxious, she becomes uncertain. If you're insecure, she becomes distant. If you're reactive, she becomes defensive. But when you're centered, she mirrors that. She becomes more open, more feminine, more cooperative, more loyal. Stoic presence also prevents unnecessary arguments. When you don't react emotionally to every small trigger, conflict becomes easier to navigate. She might push, she might test, she might express emotion, but your steadiness sends a message. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm in control of myself. Women deeply respect that type of calm leadership. Another powerful shift happens in attraction. When you don't chase validation or react to every emotional shift, she starts to pursue you emotionally. She leans in. She tries to connect with you more. She tries to understand you. She starts valuing the moments you choose to share yourself with her. Why? Because your presence has weight. It has emotional gravity. Stoicism also protects you from getting manipulated by your own feelings. You stop jumping into action just because you feel insecure. You stop trying to fix things that aren't broken. You stop giving too much just to avoid losing her. Instead, you act from strength, not fear. When a woman feels the stability of a stoic man, her behavior naturally aligns with his energy. She respects him more. She trusts him more. And most importantly, she feels loyal to the presence he brings into her life, not the things he does for her. 6. Why women choose the man who chooses himself, man who chooses himself. One thing men overlook over and over in dating and relationships is this. Women are naturally drawn to the man who chooses himself first, not in a selfish, arrogant, or dismissive way, but in a grounded, self-respecting, self-led way. A woman becomes loyal to the man who has a life, a mission, and an identity outside of her. She doesn't want to be the center of your world. She wants to be part of a world you've already built. A man who chooses himself doesn't abandon his goals when he meets a woman. He doesn't stop his routine. He doesn't drop his standards. He doesn't shrink his world just to fit into hers. Instead, he invites her into a life that's already moving, already structured, already meaningful. That gives her something to trust and follow. Women are naturally drawn to direction. A man with direction is unpredictable in the best way. He's not dependent, not clingy, not easily swayed. His strength comes from the life he leads. He's not looking for a woman to save him or complete him. He simply wants someone who respects the path he's already on. When you choose yourself, you communicate through your actions that you value your time, your purpose, and your emotional well-being. You don't tolerate disrespect. You don't stay in situations that drain you. You don't chase people who pull away. You don't put a woman above your self-respect. And women pick up on that instantly. Choosing yourself also makes you more attractive because it removes pressure from the relationship. You're not looking to her for validation. You don't need her attention to feel secure. You don't rely on her emotions to stabilize your own. This gives her room to be herself without feeling responsible for your happiness. Men who choose themselves create emotional freedom for both people. You're stable because your life has structure. You're confident because your worth doesn't depend on her. You're consistent because your routine isn't built around her moods. And whether a woman realizes it or not, she feels safer when the man she's with has that type of foundation. On the other hand, when a man abandons himself to make a woman happy, she becomes uncomfortable. She senses emotional dependence. She feels the pressure of being his only source of fulfillment. She starts to lose respect because she sees that his life bends too easily for her. It may feel flattering at first, but it quickly becomes heavy. Women don't stay loyal to men who revolve their entire identity around them. They stay loyal to men who are grounded in themselves. Men who have purpose, discipline, structure, and ambition. Men who lead themselves before trying to lead someone else. Choosing yourself is not about choosing her less. It's about becoming the kind of man she can actually admire, trust, and follow. 7. Stop making women. Stop making women your mission. Your mission. This is where most men need a wake-up call. Not an insult, not judgment, just truth. Too many men make women their mission, and it destroys their confidence, their clarity, and their attractiveness. When a woman becomes the center of your focus, your purpose gets blurry. Your self-respect weakens. Your decisions become emotional instead of intentional. And without even meaning to, you begin to live your life reacting to her instead of leading yourself. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A woman can feel when you've placed her above your own growth. And the moment she feels that, everything changes. Her respect drops. Her attraction cools. Her behavior shifts. She can't fully follow a man who's following her. She can't admire a man who abandons himself. And she can't trust a man who doesn't have direction. You don't need to become cold or distant. You don't need to avoid love or relationships. But you do need to understand this. Your life must be bigger than the woman you're dating. This is where constructive criticism comes in, because a lot of men unknowingly sabotage themselves. Some men stop chasing their goals when they fall in love. Some men stop hanging out with friends because they want to be available for her. Some men stop improving themselves because they think they've secured the relationship. Some men give all their emotional energy to her and leave nothing for their own development. And slowly, without realizing it, these men lose the very qualities that made her attracted in the first place. Women aren't loyal to comfort. They're loyal to inspiration. They're loyal to the man whose life has momentum. They're loyal to the man who keeps evolving, not the man who gets stagnant. They're loyal to the man who stays disciplined even when he has someone he loves. When you make a woman your mission, she becomes overwhelmed with responsibility she never asked for. She feels the pressure of carrying your happiness. She feels the weight of being your emotional anchor. She feels guilty when she wants space because she knows it destabilizes you. And all of this pushes her further away. But when you make yourself your mission, when you stay sharp, focused, driven, and grounded, she feels something completely different. She feels admiration. She feels respect. She feels proud to be around you. She wants to support your journey instead of becoming the journey. And here's something men need to hear. A woman does not want to replace your purpose. She wants to join a man who already has one the moment you stop making her your mission. You regain your power. You regain your clarity. You regain your masculinity. And ironically, that's exactly when she starts valuing you more deeply. At the conclusion end of the day, this entire message comes down to one simple truth. Women don't stay loyal to what you do. They stay loyal to who you are. That statement might feel uncomfortable, even controversial, but it's real. And the sooner you understand it, the stronger, calmer, and more confident you become in every part of your life. You don't need to overgive. You don't need to chase. You don't need to prove your worth. What you need is to build yourself into a man with identity, direction, and emotional discipline. When you show up as a grounded man who chooses himself, who leads himself, and who doesn't collapse under emotion or pressure, a woman feels it on a deep level. She responds to it, she respects it, and she naturally becomes more loyal and more invested, not because of what you did for her, but because of the presence you bring into her life. But here's the key. This isn't about controlling women or trying to manipulate them. It's about controlling yourself. It's about living a life that strengthens you, not drains you. A life where your purpose comes first and everything else falls into place naturally. Now, I want to hear from you. What part of this topic hit you the hardest? Where did you see yourself in this message? What experiences have taught you these lessons the hard way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'll be reading them, responding, and engaging with you because these conversations matter. And your story might help another man watching this right now.